Sports fans. In this segment, I'm going to be discussing the BMW Championship, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Kentucky Derby this Saturday. It's kind of interesting that since they moved it up last year, that golf championship is decided before football season. There hasn't been enough time passed to know whether this is going to work out long term or not. Certainly last year I thought it did, though I disagreed with it at the time, and especially the moving up of the PGA Championship from August to May, which of course this year, because of the coronavirus and the pandemic, got pushed back to August. I think what's really ironic about all this is that while golf's championship's going to be decided this weekend, you still have the U.S. Open and the Masters to go after that. And that's just going to make things kind of crazy still for golf. Though I think the way golf's handling this is very correct, and I think they're going to excel. Because now they're starting to get more spectators around the holes, and I think next year you're going to have a normal golf schedule. There's just a little bit more craziness to go through, though, before then. And what I'm referring to specifically, of course, is the fact you've got the U.S. Open later this month, and then in November you have the Masters, and that ought to be interesting to see what both the temperatures at Augusta are like and to see how that tournament plays in November as opposed to April, and I don't even know about March. I didn't even know until this year that they used to play it in March. So, as far as I know, every year I've seen it's always been played in April. And I've seen enough years to know what it's like, and it plays differently, or it can play extremely differently, even though it's played around the same time every year. So that's going to be a challenge. But in terms of the BMW Championship, I don't know who's leading in points right now, but certainly you've got to figure, the ones playing really well right now would be people like Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm for sure. And I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody right now. And I can't not think of that golfer's name from Japan. I think his name is Hideki Matsuyama, something like that. And I know I'm probably screwing that up, and I'm sure I'll end up correcting it in the comments. They would be the three I would think would be the lead contenders for the championship of that. It'll be interesting to find out what happens from that, and we'll go from there. Also, like I said, the Kentucky Derby is this Saturday. And as a lot of you might know, I think it ought to have been canceled, personally, instead of run in September. But if they were going to run it in September, this would be the time to do it. It's just, there's a bitter taste in my mouth after what happened at the Belmont. Not only because they didn't run it at the scheduled time, but they also shortened the length of it to 1.1 miles, I believe it was. Which just does not make this a true Triple Crown season as far as I'm concerned. And after what happened last year, of course, with all the craziness at the Triple Crown, it was just, 2 years of roughness for horse racing, in particular the three spectacles of it outside of the Breeders' Cup. And I don't even know if, because of all this now, you're even going to have the Breeders' Cup this year. So a lot of craziness in horse racing. Again, I think they'll be back to a normal schedule as well next year, for sure. In the final segment, I'm going to be discussing something that has been on my mind, but I didn't discuss at the beginning of this show. Stay tuned to Sports with Ed on Ed's Sports Channel.